Two, one. Welcome to another episode of the Less is More Sports Podcast. I have a very special guest joining me today. He's a good friend of mine and also the head soccer coach at Fern Creek High School here in Louisville, Kentucky. Jacob Teasley. Tease, thank you for coming on the show, man. How's it going?
Doing pretty good. How you doing?
Fair, can't complain. So for our regular fans, co-host Matt McClellan could not make the show today, but has full confidence that Tease and I will have a great show, which, let's be honest, we will. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about Teasley and what he does and the job he's doing at Fern Creek. And then we're going to go and talk about the World Cup a little bit. So you ready to get started?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So my first question, as mentioned earlier, you're the head soccer coach at Fern Creek, where you also went to high school and had a pretty good career. You're still the all-time leading assist leader for the 6th region. So what's it been like to come full circle and coach your alma mater?
At first, it didn't really even hit me. It was after the first 3 games where we played our scrimmage games, and we lost all 3 of them in our scrimmage games. And I was like, okay, just keep going. Let's see how it goes. And then we played our first match of the regular season. We won. And it didn't really hit me until afterwards. The old coach, Pedro, he came up to me. He was like, how does it feel to win your first match for Fern Creek? And when he said that, I was like, oh, wait, I did. Like, that's where it kind of hit me. And it also came down to, like, we won pretty fairly. You know, it was 4-0 or 4-1. And it was like we controlled the match the whole time. So it wasn't like it was like a nail biter. So it was just like, okay, let's just get this game done and then let's go to the next one, right? So that's kind of the reason why it didn't really hit me at first. I was just more paying attention to, like, what's going on to the next game. Let's see how can we improve from this game. And then as soon as he said that, I'm just like, wow, we did. And then I talked to my assistant, Cornell Hillard, and I'm just like, dude, we won our first game for Fern Creek. And, like, wow. Yeah. And he's just like, oh, we did. Like, because he just kind of, like, it didn't hit him either until after I said it. And it's just like, I was just kind of taking the moment. Like, this is actually a big deal right now. And then that's where it kind of hit me. I'm just like, wow, like, I'm actually the head coach of this program. I got my first win now. And it's just like, now it's just like time to improve, time to go up from there.
That's how it went. Yeah. So in your first official season as the head coach at Fern Creek, you went 13-9-1, made it all the way to the regional semis. What were your overall thoughts on this season and the thoughts of where the program is headed?
This season was a little tough. Okay, I think we could have been better, in my opinion. Unfortunately, we had 11 streak of district championships, and we lost our first one this year. Take nothing granted for Bullitt East. They played fantastic. It was probably the best team they've had since I've seen them from when I played all 4 years. And now that I'm coaching, I coach at Southern High School also. This is the best team they had. Their coach, Mike Bringers, very great guy. This is his last year. So you knew those players were playing hard for him. And this is his last year. He hasn't won. I'm pretty positive he has not won a district championship in his tenure there, and this was his first one. And so it's great to see him leave on a high note. I think we will be back. We have some more guys coming in, and I'm excited to see how they are. We have our first spring session coming up in I think April. We have our first spring session, and we're going to see how the guys look in there. I'm going to bring a couple of new guys in, see how they fit. We're losing a bunch of guys, which is tough. We're losing probably our best center back, Andrew Beck. He is going on to college. I'm not sure where he is going to play at yet, but he's probably one of our better players. He's leaving. Our other better player, one of our best players, Frank Nguru. He's leaving also, going to Boyce College and playing. So it's unfortunate we're losing those 2 guys. But we have some big talents coming up. Dylan Lopez, he was a freshman this year, plays at Javedon, played for the MLS Connect team for their team last year. Fantastic player. And then we had Chris. He is coming back this year for his junior year. Fantastic player, plays for Louisville City. I'm excited to see how those 2 guys develop as we go on. So hopefully we have some big pieces returning, big pieces missing. Hopefully we pick up a good freshman class this year and go forward.
I'm looking forward to seeing how it turns out, man. I think you've done a great job in year 1 and looking forward to, more success for the future. But I think that wraps up the questions I have for you about your your tenure as the head coach at Fern Creek. Let's get into like the main point of the podcast, where a little reminder what we do here at Less is More Sports is we kind of talk about the social media narratives in sports. And of course, with the biggest singular sporting event in the world, social media was absolutely buzzing about the World Cup. So again, these next couple questions, a lot of what these questions that I'm about to ask you is what we got from social media. So without further ado, let's get into it. So my first question I have for you is the finals match between Argentina and France. It was one for the ages. Argentina would go on to win in penalty kicks. Do you think this was the best World Cup match of all time?
Yes, I do. I understand people that don't saying no, not really, because the reason people say it isn't is because the referee had a hand in this match a lot, and usually people in the soccer or football universe they don't like it when the referee has a hand in a lot. And what I mean by that there was 3 penalties in this game. You know what I mean? So it's just like it adds to the dramatic effect to the game because like, oh my gosh, we got another penalty here, and then they come down and score right here, then it's another penalty. So it adds to the dramatic effort to the game. But I understand why people say it's not just because the referee, he just had such a big role to play. Going into it, like the first goal of the game was a PK. Di Maria absolutely killed this dude on the right back. Dribbles in, gets maybe the smallest of touches on his back ankle, and he falls. PK. In my opinion, does he touch him? Yes. Is it enough for him to get a PK? No. So that's like the first controversial call that we're getting right now. And then obviously Messi steps up, and it's like Messi's going to finish it. I mean, it's Messi. You know what I mean? Comes up, scores the goal, 1-0 Argentina. Now, it takes nothing away from how Argentina played. The first half, Argentina played fantastic. Kept the ball the whole time. Endless, relentless pressure on France. Did not even let them breathe on the ball. As soon as they stole the ball, they go into it. Second goal came from Di Maria again, but he's the one who scored the goal. Just relentless pressure. Just winning the ball, going into it, going straight at the goal. All right. And then we get into the second half. All right. This is where it gets a little hectic. Okay. Mbappe comes up, gets the pin, obviously finishes it. And then within 60 seconds from that, scores the second goal. All right. That's what I mean by like the dramatic effect. Like, was it a PK? Yes. Okay. But it's just like, that's already 2 goals in the World Cup final that the referee has a clear hand to play in. And then scores that second goal, absolutely fantastic goal. Dude scores a half volley, absolutely amazing. Goes into overtime. And then this is where it comes down to like Messi is just being Messi. Just gets the ball, dribbles past a few players, plays the ball in to Lautaro Martinez. Lautaro Martinez with a shot on goal, rebounds, just goes right. Of course, it goes right to Messi. Rebounds right now to Messi, taps it in, goal. 60 seconds later, handball, Mbappe gets another PK. It was a handball. I can't say it wasn't. The dude jumped up, put his elbow up, unfortunately hit his elbow. It's a handball. Scores it, goes in the PKs, and then they have one of the best keepers in the world right now, Martinez, just comes up huge for Argentina. Even before the PKs happen, is in the 123rd minute, clear chance on goal, 1v1 with the goalie, makes probably the biggest save in history of soccer right now, especially in the World Cup. Because the World Cup final, if you don't make this save, you lose. Right. And he makes it unbelievable. Probably one of the best saves in the world, and best save period probably in the World Cup history. And since it's the World Cup, probably in history period. Comes up big then, and then comes the mind games in the PKs. You know what I mean? Just he comes up, Mbappe finishes it. All right. And Martinez does what he does with Mbappe, but I think Martinez knows he's going to score this. Then it comes up Coman, who has not taken a PK yet in the World Cup. And then you see Martinez having the ball in his hands, coming up and approaching him with the ball, given the ball, literally handing it to him. It's like, hey, you take it. Mm-hmm. Looking him in the eyes, has Coman scared, misses the PK. And then Argentina finishes theirs. Next guy, Chouamini, I think he's 19 years old. He is very young. He probably wouldn't even be in the situation from the injuries that happened for France going into the tournament. Comes up, Martinez has the ball in his hands, comes up to him, throws the ball to like the complete opposite side of the 18. So he has time to go over there and get it. Granted, this dude is like 19 years old. So
Right.
he's young. First time ever playing the World Cup. Now he has this keeper throwing the ball across with full confidence, throwing the ball away from him so he can walk over and get it. And from that, when he threw the ball away, I was like, this guy's going to miss. He's just going to miss the PK. Surely enough, he doesn't even hit the goal. That misses the whole target. Just puts it wide. And then from there, I'm like, it's history. It's over. And then that's when Argentina scores the next one. Absolutely insane game. I would agree it's the best game in the world, but I understand why people have their doubts on it.
So I want to touch on something where you said Messi being Messi, because my next question falls right into that. Of course, Lionel Messi of Argentina, many consider him one of, if not the greatest soccer player of all time. How much did this World Cup final either solidify it, if at all?
It 100% made it. They just made him the GOAT, 100%. Not even, there's no question. If he didn't win the World Cup, in my eyes, he's the GOAT. When we look at Cristiano Ronaldo, like he is the best goal scorer, I would say, when it comes to just like people keep comparing him and Messi, right? In my eyes, Messi does literally everything. He controls the midfield. He controls the game. He makes the assists. Ronaldo is just the better goal scorer of the two. So I always thought Messi was the better one, but this is just solidify it. It's not even close now. Just like read off these stats real quick that just in this World Cup what he made. Most matches in a World Cup, most goals contribution in the World Cup, most assists in the World Cup, most man of the matches in 11 in the World Cup, most minutes played, youngest player to participate in 5 World Cups, only player to score a goal in all phases of the competition. So he scored in group stage, round of 16, scored in the semis, the quarterfinals, the finals. The only player to give an assist at 5 World Cups, only Argentina player to score a goal in 4 World Cups, most numbers of games played as a captain for the national team. That's in one. That's just in one World Cup.
That's just amazing. That's amazing.
It's just like, what do you say? What do you say then? Like he won it. Greatest individual performance, I think, from a player that I have seen in the World Cup. It's just the the greatest stage, because it only comes every 4 years.
Right.
It's not like comparing to like American sports like NFL. Like the Super Bowl happens every year. You know what I mean? This is every 4 years.
Yeah.
Every 4 years. These players, like if you get injured, that's why I feel bad. If if Messi got injured during one of these, that's one that he doesn't have to wait another 4 years to play in a World Cup. And that's what some players get, like 5 World Cups in a row and he wins one. And when he's 35, it's just like, wow, just cherry on top, to be honest. Amazing.
Right. And I mean, just absolutely amazing what he's been able to do for this, as long as he's been able to do it as well. But I want to talk next about, a star player from the losing team. Despite the loss, France's, and I'm sorry if I butcher his name, Kylian Mbappe had a legendary performance. Is it Kylian?
Kylian, yeah.
Okay, good. Because I don't want to mispronounce anybody's name, but he had a phenomenal performance throughout the entire stage of the World Cup. But of course, he even had a legendary performance in the finals with the hat trick. At only 23 years old, is he the future of soccer?
Yes, and it comes down to like Ronaldo and Messi are retiring within the next few years, probably. You would betting man, next 3-4 years, Messi and Ronaldo gone, and then you have these two players in Kylian Mbappe and in Erling Haaland. The reason why you never heard of Erling Haaland because he plays for Norway. His nation didn't make it to the World Cup, so it's unfortunate for like some of the Americans, especially because Americans don't usually watch soccer. So when they usually only watch the World Cup, so when they watch the World Cup, they see Mbappe. But I also have to mention Erling Haaland in this when we're thinking of like 2 of the best players coming up, and they are the future. Erling Haaland right now, 13 matches in the EPL, English Premier League, 18 goals, 23 goals, all competitions. Absolutely insane. The most goals in English Premier League history in one season is 33. And he has 18 in 13 matches. He's not even halfway through the matches yet. It's just like So it's unfortunate that he wasn't able to play because I think he will be a big player that we would be talking about right now also instead of Mbappe. So I wanted to mention him also. But Mbappe is the future. He is. He's already won a World Cup. He's 23, just turned 24 like 2 days ago, actually. 24 years old. And he basically has completed football, as in like he's won the World Cup. Only thing he's missing right now is a UCL championship, which is that happens every single year. He has time to do it. Right now, he is in prime position to win it because he has Messi on his team in Paris, and then he has Neymar in his team in Paris. So that team is absolutely ridiculous.
It's stacked. That is stacked, bro.
It's stacked, and Manchester City is another is a team that will definitely come in between them and trying to win it. But if he wins that, he basically is right now is just playing catch up now, which means like how many Ballon d'Ors is he going to win in the year? Because Messi has 7. You know what I mean? So can he win that many Ballon d'Ors? Which Ballon d'Ors is like the best player in the world in that year, right? So in 7, Messi's won. So basically, if Mbappe wins the UCL, he already has every single trophy he can win at like the best stature. And 23 right now, he's just racking up trophies to try to help his cause and being proclaimed the GOAT.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where it comes out to. And unfortunately for Holland, I don't see Norway like winning a World Cup because it's just Holland right now. Hopefully they can string together a couple guys like with Argentina is just like good, helpful pieces to help them make it. I think they'll make the World Cup the next year, but I just don't see them winning it. And France is just stacked. So I can see France and Mbappe winning another one before he retires.
Fair enough. And of course, the USA being our home country, what were your overall thoughts on Team USA's performance and the direction of the club going forward? Now, this is what I feel like is going to get a very interesting answer out of you.
Yeah, this is tough for me. For USA Soccer, from people who don't know me and who are watching the channel, I watch US Soccer qualifying, not just the World Cup. I watch every single friendly game. I watch the qualifiers. I watch everything for them going up. Now, in performance-based, to answer the question, performance-based during the World Cup, they actually did okay. They did what they needed to do. Like, if we didn't make it out of the group stage, it's an L. Like, it's just we didn't do well. But since we did make it out of the group stage, I think that – hold on, my cat just walked in. Yeah, since we did make it out of the group stage, I can't really complain too much with how young we are this year. Like, our average age this year was 24, the youngest team we've ever had at the World Cup. So it's amazing to see these young guys step together and make it out of the group stage. With that being said, like with how the teams win, if you asked me before the World Cup if we make it out of the group stage, I'll be like, oh, that's great, right? But then, given how the games went, a lot of coaching just flaws went into it, and how like we're up 1-0 against Iran. We're going into the last 15 minutes of the game. And then our coach subs in our 5th center back, puts in a 5 in the back, and then we're holding on for dear life against Iran. Like, if we want to take that next step to be a competitor in this World Cup, we cannot be struggling against teams like that. You know, even though Iran they are a good team, and but they don't have players playing for top clubs like the United States does. And it's just to the point where like we have to win that game, and not even against Iran, like against Wales too. Like, making just questionable subs after questionable subs going in. Every single game, I would say the first half, besides the Netherlands game where we lost, he got the first half correct when it comes to like tactics and stuff. But then after the second half, I don't know what happens. It's just like it all falls apart. Against Wales, first half, unbelievable performance. Against Iran, unbelievable performance in the first half. England, unbelievable performance. And then the second half comes around and we make these bad subs. And it just carries on throughout the game. And it's just like, I think we need a better coach moving forward. And if we want to compete for the 2026 World Cup, not only that, it's like not even like even in qualifiers, like we played Honduras. Honduras is like ranked. I don't have it with me. I should have put it down, but they're ranked very high. It's like maybe 100th in the world, right? Out of all the nations, they're not very good. Okay, one of our qualifiers, he literally put us to play them in Minnesota in -degree weather to beat Honduras. Like, why are we doing that? Why are we trying to freeze our opponent against? If we can't beat Honduras in Tampa in 60 or 70-degree weather, like, we don't deserve to go to the World Cup. Like, why are we doing that? Why are we freezing our opponents that is nowhere near as good as us just so we can make sure we get that win? Like, in my eyes, we should play that team in Tampa, play them, and then show them how good we are even in good weather. There's no reason for us to go up there and do that. And it's just like it's just wild, and seeing like what we have done to like win the world, to get to this World Cup, the changes he's made in this World Cup. It's just like to the point where I'm just like I'm done with them. I hope we move on and we get to another coach going into 2026, but we'll have to see when that comes up.
Sounds like you need to be the next head coach of the men's national team.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
That'd be great. Just remember us.
Fantastic.
Remember us little people when you actually finally make it.
Yeah.
Just remember that just remember you were on this, this losers podcast a couple years ago and just don't forget us completely. So
is that right? Yeah. I mean, it would be great. I think they need someone from Europe to come over and coach us. We don't need an MLS coach. We need someone from Europe to come over and coach us, not because we have European talent. Mm-hmm. So why will we have MLS coaches for European talent?
Right.
But that's why I think, who knows what we'll do. We'll probably keep him for another 4 years, unfortunately. His brother is on the board of the Federation for US. So that's pretty much the reason why he is in the position that he is right now. I mean, it's not because of his resume. It can't be, because he coached in the second division in Sweden and got fired. So it's not because of his resume, I'll tell you that. So
right.
Hopefully we get him out and we're able to get someone else in. But we'll have to see about that.
Just unfortunately, soccer is one of those sports that the rest of the world is just miles ahead of the United States right now. However, with the next World Cup coming to the United States in 2026, how big will that be for the growth of soccer within the United States?
It's huge. I want to say on the fact that you said that the rest of the world is just miles ahead. I agree in the men's aspect and the women's aspect. We are miles ahead.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I didn't want to disrespect our women's national team. No.
Yeah, I just want to put that out there because I watched the women's team. I watched the women's team just as much as I watched the men's team, and it's just they're fantastic. Also, love them to death. So like when it comes to soccer, yes, that's also because the resources that we put into this to soccer here is just not as good as like the resources we put into like NFL or football or baseball or basketball. But we're catching up. This 2026, I think, is looking forward to most of the people here. I think it will help us tremendously grow the sport. As of right now, I read an article probably about a month or two ago that there's a lot of parents like taking their kids out of like youth football because of the head injuries and stuff, and putting them in the soccer. So hopefully that continues to grow, and hopefully this World Cup coming up. And I think just the World Cup coming here and seeing the different cultures just come into the United States is going to be amazing. Like Argentina, they're Argentinian people like in Qatar was like throwing parties and stuff like on the streets of Qatar for winning it. So like just seeing that as an American is going to be like wow, like what is this? And seeing like the kids here, like seeing like the different like cultures come in and partying for their nation, they're just like, oh, like I want to be part of that. I want to do something like that. You know what I mean? So I think in that aspect, just the different cultures coming in and partying here. And
it's going to help us like diversify ourselves a little bit too.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Right.
I think that when people see that and like the kids and parents see that, they're like, oh, like I want to put my kid in this. I want my kid to feel this type of way. And I think that will grow it just from that period, just from seeing it. It's gonna be kind of interesting to see how it is, because Qatar is as big as Connecticut is for United States.
Right.
So it was kind of like everybody jam-packed in one, and then they were celebrating. So it's gonna be kind of interesting to see like what's gonna happen when it comes here, because we have 32 different cities coming,
Mhm.
and it's gonna be wild to see what happens and stuff like that. I think it's gonna be a very good growing point for the United States soccer going forward.
So this question was kind of added last minute, but what are your thoughts on FIFA president, and I'm sorry if I butcher his name, Gianni Infantino, planning for a World Cup every 3 years instead of 4?
So this is a question I think I told you yesterday that I just don't know how I feel about it.
Right.
The reason for it is because that every 4 years, I mean, I like it because every 3 years I get the World Cup sooner, right?
Mhm.
But it's like there's something about having the World Cup every 4 years, and just like you're leading everything leading up to go into that 4 year mark. It's an incredible journey. Like all the World Cup qualifiers being played, all like the tournaments before, like the Copa America then played in South America, the Euros began plays, all leading up. Like they want to win the Copa America. The teams want to win that. They want to win the Euros, but mostly those tournaments are just like for teams to see, can we get to that World Cup and win it? And that's what it is. Everything leads up to that point. So it's really nice to see it. And also like from the stats perspective, that's the one of the reasons why I don't like it. Cause like I just told you Messi has all these stats. And how many of those stats are going to be broken now that we're moving to every 3 years instead of every 4 years? Because now we're getting this World Cup sooner. Players can now play in these 5 to 6 World Cups now because we're getting it sooner. And it was such a remarkable feature that Messi was able to play in 5, but now that we're moving into 3, every 3 years, people will be able to play that regularly. And so that stat from Messi would just be kind of overlooked now. You know what I mean? So I think from a stats perspective, I'm like, no, like I don't really want it. As a fan, I'm like, yes, like do it. I want it.
Right.
I'm happy for it. I wanted it to happen, but from a stat perspective and from players to now, that I'm just like, maybe not. Maybe let's calm down a little bit. And it comes down to like they also are adding. They added more teams in the World Cup in 2026 for the USA one. They added more World Cup teams, more teams that come to the World Cup. So it's not the same. So they're already adding that, and now we're adding every 3 years. So it's just like I think it needs to calm down a little bit. I'm okay with adding more teams so we can get more teams exposure. And then, like I said, with the Erling Haaland kid that I was telling you about, like now we get probably see him in the World Cup now because Norway couldn't make it because there were that many teams that make it this year. So now I think Holland and Norway will be able to make it now. So it'll be nice to see other talents make it and stuff. But now we're adding it every 3 years. It's just, I don't know. It might get redundant after a while, but who knows?
Just a bunch of mixed emotions, what it sounds like.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So that we flew through these questions really fast. So what were some other performances, by teams or players during this World Cup that really stood out to you?
Teams, Morocco, absolutely fantastic tournament. We're supposed to get out of weren't even supposed to get out the group stage. It was absolutely insane what they did. Were able to pull together and do. And then there was Boufal. That was the guy in the midfield for Morocco. Absolutely fantastic player. Just played absolutely insane the whole time. The first time an African nation has made it to the semifinals of World Cup. And if you would have said before that you had Morocco making it over some of the other African nations that were in it, like Senegal, I would have put my money on Senegal to make it to the Final Four before I would put Morocco. But Morocco absolutely showed up this tournament and played absolutely fantastic. And it wasn't like they were just sitting in and just like, oh, we're going to sit everybody behind the ball and then just play very defensive. And no, they were attacking teams too. And it was just absolutely amazing to see. And I'm hoping within the next few World Cups, if the USA doesn't win it, of course, hopefully we see an African team win it and get it, because I think that would be huge for them. So that's one team I thought did really well this year. Some of the bad teams I want to talk about, Belgium, absolutely terrible performance. All 3 games, which is nonchalant, just not working. Their captain came out after the second game came out and said that one of the reporters asked him, like, do you have a chance of winning the World Cup? And he said, no, we're too old. Like, I'm just sitting there
Love the
thinking like,
confidence. Right.
yeah, I was like, what are you doing? Like, I think from that, when he said that, I told my buddies, I was like, they're losing that last game. They're not making it through. I said, they're not, like, their captain just said that on, like, to a reporter. Like, they're not making it. So that's a performance. I'm just like, it was just terrible. Like, the attitudes of those players, the attitude of the captain to say that. Like, if, like, there's teams like I said with Norway, like Norway would love to be in your spot, and that's your attitude going into it. I just don't see how that's beneficial for anybody. So that's one team I thought didn't do good. Also, another team I want to bring up that didn't do too well is England. They won the group. Congrats to them. They won the group. But they're just not there. And I think it has a lot to do with their coach, Gareth Southgate. He's just not a good coach. There's nothing you can put around it. He's just not good. One of the players, young players for the team, his name is Phil Foden. One of the best players on the team. One of the best players on Manchester City, which Manchester City is a top 3 team right now in the world, and he starts for them. And you're telling me that he's not good enough to start for your England team? It just doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't. It's the coach 100%. Player and fan from a fan base for their starting center back, Harry Maguire. He plays for Manchester United. Everybody on Manchester United hates him. Everybody. There's not one. They overpaid for him. They paid $80 million for this man to come here. Everybody hates him from a fan perspective. And then to see that he was the captain of the World Cup going into England, I was like, it's just, they need to make changes. And every single year you hear it, oh, it's coming home. It's coming home. It's not. It's not coming home. It's not England. Just stop. Just stop it.
Just stop it.
Just stop it. Okay. Unless you get a new coach and actually are able to compete against these top teams, it's not coming home. That's all I say for them. But yeah, if you have any more questions, feel free to ask. I don't know how much longer we have on this, but
no, we're right at our minute limit right now. Got about 5 minutes left, but I mean that's all the questions I got for you today. I think you made Bean want to play soccer, so I mean that's an accomplishment.
Good. That's why I wanted at least Bean to play soccer. You know what I mean?
Hey, he's definitely better than his dad. His dad, as you know, his dad's not very good at soccer. That was not one of his better sports. So. Anyways, yeah. So for those who don't know, yes, Teasley and I were on the same co-ed soccer league at Mockingbird. I'm gonna be completely honest. I only joined.
We won the championship.
We won a championship. I played 100% defense. I pretty much just slowed people down.
That's what we need you to do. That's what we did.
I did it well. So, anyways, Teasley, I want to thank you again for coming on the show. Did a great job. And for the listeners, as always, like and subscribe to Less is More Sports YouTube and Spotify channel. Be sure to follow the pages on social media on Facebook and Twitter. And without further ado, Teasley, I think we're out, bud.
Yeah. See you, man.